And so I have this kind of cheat sheet, if you will, of the main 8 areas of business acumen that come up most often in cases. And why is this important? Because this is going to help in the way that you ask questions. It's going to help in the way that you create your hypotheses, and it's going to help in the way that you create your structures. Those 8 break down into 2 groups, the external areas and the internal areas. So all businesses have factors outside of their control, and then they have the things that they're going on that are the decisions that management is making. Or the other way to think about it is, if I have a physical presence, there's things that go on outside the walls of my business, and then there's things that go on inside the walls. Having a way to access these frameworks, ways of thinking, approaches to analysis is going to help you be faster. So the 8 of them include the pestle analysis, which enables you externally to look at macro trends. That is a tool that generally comes from marketing and also macroeconomics. And then the 2 biggest strategy tools, Porter's 5 Forces, which is an industry analysis, and the value chain, which helps you look at how an industry operates. And then the other internal considerations, the criteria and the goals of the business model, which is their financial way that they make profitability, the different business functions, so the marketing operations, the technology operations, human capital, finance, etc. The culture of the company, because a lot of your cases, that's going to be a factor. And then the feasibility of doing whatever you're talking about doing, particularly for recommendations that aligns to that business. That's the subject of the case. And if you break those down and yourself create an understanding of these, that is helpful. I have given people cases and they have misapplied the concept of the 4 Ps. And maybe that's that individual. The thing is, I've seen it repeatedly. A lot of people don't understand the true application of Porter's 5 Forces. And then, by the way, I've never walked into a client and said, oh, we're going to do a Porter's 5 Forces analysis. What we do is we usually say we're going to analyze the industry and here's the things that we're going to look at. And then the final thing I would say about these is that you're using them and drawing out pieces rather than using these models, these frameworks holistically. What happens, I think, in this case training that you're going through is you can go through each of these and ask if it's relevant to the case in your early stages of preparation. This helps you to be more comprehensive. Is this a factor I ought to consider? Are there legal factors that influence this case? Is there something around substitutes that I ought to be thinking about, right? So you kind of can use this a little bit as a checklist. Over time, you train yourself away from having to reference this comprehensively. But for most people who've never worked in strategy, using some of these ways of thinking it's still book knowledge. And now for the case, you need to move beyond book knowledge.